My name is Emily Carter. I'm 32 years old, and this is how I turned every crack in my broken life into the sharpest weapon I could use against the person who destroyed me. Immediate scene. The camera finds Emily in her dimly lit apartment, a place too quiet for comfort. The wallpaper is peeling. The couch slumps under years of wear, and the only light comes from a small lamp whose shade is slightly crooked. She sits at a tiny table, nursing a glass of wine. The glass is cracked, the kind of flaw most people would throw away. Her fingers trace the thin fracture along its surface, like she's memorizing it. I used to think cracks meant something was useless, she says, looking straight into the lens. Her voice isn't bitter yet, just measured, like she's been practicing this conversation for months. Now I know they can cut deeper than anything whole. She swirls the wine, but doesn't drink. The glass catches the light, the fracture line glinting like a scar. Shock teaser. She lets out a slow exhale, eyes darting away for a second, as if deciding how much to reveal. I was married for 8 years, she says. His name was Ryan. He made me believe I was safe, loved, unshakable. I thought our life was perfect, until the night he left me in the most humiliating way possible, in front of everyone who mattered. Her voice trembles on humiliating, but her jaw tightens, forcing the weakness back down. She doesn't say what happened yet, just lets the silence stretch. The weight of it is enough to make you lean closer, needing to know. Unforgettable hook. She sets the glass down carefully, the crack still facing her. He thought breaking me would make me disappear, she says, her lips curling into a small, knowing smile. What he didn't realize was that every crack he made was just another blade in my hand. Her smile hardens, and for the first time, there's something dangerous in her eyes. The camera cuts from the dim apartment to old photographs scattered across a coffee table, faded prints curling at the edges. Emily's voice continues over them, steady but with a quiet ache. I grew up in a town where everyone knew your last name before they knew your first. Ohio, one of those places where the gas station clerk also coaches your cousin's softball team. My mom raised me alone. She worked 2 jobs, mornings at the diner, nights cleaning offices. She never complained. She just kept moving. That's probably where I learned to hold myself together no matter what. A childhood picture shows Emily with her arm around her mom, both smiling under the harsh light of a county fair. I wasn't the girl chasing the drama. I was the girl people came to when their world was falling apart. The listener, the fixer. That's why I became a school counselor. I liked helping kids see the best in themselves, even when they couldn't yet. Emily leans back in her chair, her fingers idly tapping the cracked glass from before. The thing about being someone who builds others up, you forget to check if anyone's building you back. Meeting Ryan, the scene shifts. A warm, golden-lit memory. Emily stands in a crowded community hall, dressed in a modest blue dress, clutching a clipboard. It was a charity fundraiser for an after-school program, she narrates. I was in charge of organizing the silent auction. He walked in like he owned the place. Ryan is introduced in a flashback. Tall, impeccably dressed, the kind of smile that feels like it's aimed only at you. He offers a donation check that's more generous than anyone expected. Ryan Taylor, he said, holding out his hand. His voice had that calm, confident tone that made you feel chosen. I was cautious at first, Emily admits, but he noticed things. He remembered my favorite coffee order after one meeting. He called the next day just to say talking to me was the best part of his week. He was everything I wasn't, spontaneous, bold, a little reckless, and I thought maybe that's what I needed. Their relationship. Flashes of early days play across the screen. Ryan pulling her into a spur of the moment road trip, the two of them laughing in the rain, scribbling dream house sketches on napkins in a diner at midnight. He made my world bigger, Emily says softly. He told me I'd been thinking too small my whole life, that I could have more, be more, if I just trusted him. Her friends noticed the glow in her. Claire, her best friend since college, joked that Emily was finally living like she was in a movie. Even her mom, who'd always been protective, told her, "Don't overthink it, honey. You deserve this." And for a while, she believed she did. Support system, the narration pauses over a group photo. Emily, Claire, a few co-workers, and Ryan in the center with his arm draped over Emily's shoulder like she was his prize. Claire adored him. My co-workers couldn't stop talking about how lucky I was. And my mom, she said Ryan was too good to be true. Emily's voice lowers. Turns out, she was right, just not in the way she meant. Subtle cracks in the picture. Flashbacks take a sharper tone. Ryan frowning as Emily comes out of the bedroom in a dress she loves. Are you sure that's the most flattering choice? A dinner party where Emily starts telling a story and Ryan cuts her off with a joke that makes everyone laugh at her. There were little moments, Emily says, her voice tightening. Things you can explain away if you want to. Him asking why I still worked at a school when I could be doing something that actually mattered, or saying he was just being honest when he told me I wasn't thinking big enough. A brief montage shows Emily brushing off each moment, smiling through the discomfort. When someone's good at making you feel special, it's easy to believe they're also right when they make you feel small. Current day contrast. The warm, golden flashbacks fade into the muted, gray-toned present. Emily stands in her tiny kitchen, pulling dinner from a dented can. The camera lingers on peeling paint, mismatched dishes, the hum of an old refrigerator. This, she says, gesturing to the small, cluttered space, is my life now. And it's fine, simple, quiet. But I didn't get here because I wanted a fresh start. I got here because someone I trusted more than anyone else in the world made sure I lost everything before I even realized I was in a fight. She pauses, looking directly at the viewer. That's the thing about people like Ryan. They don't just leave you. They take pieces of you on their way out. Pieces you didn't think could be stolen. Until they're gone. Her fingers tighten around the cracked glass until her knuckles whiten. But here's what he didn't expect. I learned how to make those broken pieces sharp. The scene opens in warm, golden light. The kind you see in real estate magazines. Emily's home looks perfect. Polished floors, fresh flowers, tables loaded with food and champagne. Laughter and music spill through the air as guests mingle. It was our 8th anniversary, Emily narrates. Ryan insisted on throwing a party at our house, said it was a way to celebrate us with the people who mattered. Emily wears a deep green dress Ryan picked out himself. He told her it was classy but unforgettable. She'd taken it as a compliment. The betrayal. Midway through the evening, Ryan clinks a crystal glass, flashing that magnetic smile that used to make her knees weak. Conversations hush. All eyes turn toward him. Emily moves closer, expecting to hear the usual charming toast, maybe a sweet anecdote, a joke about her coffee addiction, something that would make her blush. Tonight, Ryan begins, is about more than just 8 years together. It's about growth, about stepping into the life we deserve. Emily smiles, but a small knot forms in her stomach. His tone is different. He scans the room like he's commanding a stage. Sometimes, To live the life you're meant to have, you have to make choices that others might not understand, choices that scare you. But tonight, I'm making mine. He reaches for someone's hand. Emily turns and sees her. A tall, elegant brunette in a fitted red dress steps forward. Her hair shines under the chandelier, and her smile is tight, almost smug. This, Ryan says, is Madison, and she's the person who matches the vision I have for my future. Gasps ripple through the crowd. Emily's breath stops. For a moment, she thinks she's misheard him, that this is some sort of tasteless joke. But Ryan keeps talking about compatibility, shared ambition, a future aligned with success. Her face burns, but her body is frozen. She hears a champagne cork pop somewhere behind her, absurdly cheerful against the heavy silence. Public humiliation phones come out. She sees at least 3 guests filming. Someone whispers her name. Another says, "Oh my God, is this real?" Ryan's hand is still on Madison's. Madison is looking at Emily. Not with pity, but with triumph. Emily feels something cold inside her chest, but her grip on her wine glass tightens until it slips, shattering on the hardwood. Red wine streaks down her dress like blood. Ryan doesn't flinch. "Emily," he says, almost like he's dismissing an employee, "I hope you'll respect my decision." And then he walks out, with Madison on his arm, leaving Emily standing in the middle of her own living room as guests murmur and stare. Immediate fallout. Within minutes, the party is over. Some guests mutter awkward goodbyes. Others linger just long enough to catch one last glance at her, like she's a car wreck they can't look away from. Claire rushes to her side, trying to help clean the wine from her dress, but Emily just stands there, staring at the front door as it swings shut. "When he left," she narrates, "it wasn't just him walking away. It was every story I told myself about who we were." The last guests trickle out, their whispers following them into the night. Emily locks the door and leans against it, shaking. Legal and emotional hit. 2 days later, a courier delivers a thick envelope. Inside, divorce papers he'd filed weeks ago. She logs into their joint bank account. Empty. Jewelry, electronics, valuable art, gone. Even the silver tea set from her grandmother is missing. Her lawyer tells her there's little she can do. Most of it was in his name. The house will be sold, proceeds split, but debts will also be shared, which means she'll get nothing. Breaking point. The camera finds Emily sitting on the floor of the empty living room weeks later, knees pulled up, hair messy, wearing an oversized hoodie. The green anniversary dress is crumpled in a box by the wall. Sunlight spills in through bare windows, too bright for the hollow quiet of the room. She stares straight ahead, voice low but steady. "That," she says, "was the night I stopped being the woman who swallowed pain quietly." She looks at the cracked wine glass, the only thing she kept from that night. Her fingers run along the fracture line. Ryan thought he'd taken everything, but what he really did, she pauses, eyes sharpening, was it give me a reason to become someone he'd never see coming. Fade to black. The days after Ryan's announcement blur together in Emily's memory. A haze of cardboard boxes, court papers, and faces she thought were friends turning away. The aftermath, Emily packs the last of her belongings into the trunk of a borrowed car. Her house, their house, echoes with emptiness. The realtor's lockbox clicks shut on the front door. She doesn't look back. She rents a one-bedroom on the edge of the city, in a neighborhood that smells faintly of exhaust and fried food. The ceiling creaks when the upstairs neighbor walks. The shower sputters before the water warms. It's a far cry from the open-plan home with a marble kitchen island where she used to host book clubs. Worse than the downgrade is the betrayal of people she thought she knew. Some mutual friends stop answering her texts. Others send polite but clipped messages. I'm sure there's more to the story. Ryan's version spreads faster than she can correct it. That they grew apart. That she wasn't on the same path. That he met someone who understood his vision. His words, rehearsed and polished, leave her painted as a clingy woman who couldn't keep up. Her mom calls every night, offering to let her move back to Ohio. Emily always says no. Pride keeps her in the city. That, and the burning refusal to let Ryan see her crawl away from the life he stole. Deeper wounds revealed one rainy Thursday. Claire arrives unannounced. Her hair is damp, her coat unbuttoned in haste. She drops a manila folder on Emily's kitchen table with a thud. You need to see this. Inside are printouts from a mutual acquaintance in finance, bank records, loan agreements, signatures. Emily flips through them, confusion curdling into horror. He used my name, she whispers. These are my signatures. Claire nods grimly. Forged. He took out business loans, big ones, and then he defaulted. They're coming after you, Em. He made sure of it. The weight of it is crushing. Not just the debt, but the realization that Ryan's betrayal wasn't a sudden, impulsive cruelty. It was methodical, planned for over a year. Her hands tremble. He didn't just leave me. He buried me. Isolation and shame. For weeks, Emily stays off social media. She deletes the apps from her phone, thinking it will help. But one Sunday, while scrolling idly on her laptop, curiosity gets the better of her. She searches Ryan's profile. The first photo hits her like a physical blow. Madison, wearing Emily's silk robe. The caption, Mornings with my love. Another post, Madison curled up in Emily's old leather chair, the one Emily had saved for months to buy. In her lap is Max, Emily's golden retriever, who looks at the camera with the same trusting eyes he used to reserve for her. Emily closes the laptop, but the images keep replaying in her mind, sharper than any memory. She feels physically sick. First, sparks of revenge. That night, she finds an empty notebook at the back of her desk drawer, a gift from a student years ago, still untouched. She opens to the first page and writes in block letters, Ryan Taylor, everything. Underneath, she starts listing his daily habits, the coffee shop he always uses for meetings, the fact that he keeps cash hidden in a locked cigar box in his office, the names of business partners she suspects are really fronts for illegal side deals. She writes down the names of people he's cheated in small ways. Contractors he never paid, colleagues he undermined. At first, it feels like a coping exercise, a way to unload the venom so it doesn't eat her alive. But as the list grows, the pages start to look less like therapy and more like a blueprint, internal conflict. One night, she sits on the edge of her bed, the notebook open in her lap. She stares at it for a long time. This isn't me, she tells herself. I help people. I don't destroy them. Her mother's voice echoes in her memory. Don't go looking for trouble, Emily. Trouble finds you easily enough. But then another memory surfaces. Standing in her living room as Ryan introduced Madison, the flash of cameras, the laughter that wasn't hers, the wine glass shattering in her hand. She runs her thumb along the crack in that same glass now, kept on her nightstand. Not who I am, she murmurs. Maybe not before. She closes the notebook, but not all the way. The crack metaphor builds. In the weeks that follow, she starts noticing cracks everywhere. The jagged split in the sidewalk outside her apartment, a hairline fracture in the ceiling paint above her bed, the way the rim of her favorite mug is chipped, just enough to catch on her lip. She begins narrating these to herself. Everything broken has edges. You just have to know where to press. When she passes a building with a cracked facade, she imagines pushing against the weakest point until the whole thing crumbles. When she sees a glass bottle smashed in the gutter, Emily sits at her kitchen table, scrolling through a local business news site. A headline catches her eye. Ryan Taylor close to sealing multi-million-dollar real estate deal. The article brags about Ryan's impeccable track record and innovative vision. There's even a photo of him shaking hands with a well-dressed older man, the potential investor. But one line in the article makes Emily's pulse quicken. The deal hinges on a clean legal record and a strong public reputation. She leans back in her chair, the cracked wine glass beside her notebook. A slow smile forms. The plan. From her research, she knows Ryan's weaknesses better than anyone. The fraud, the unpaid debts, the falsified contracts. She's been holding on to them like ammunition, waiting for the perfect moment. That moment is now. Emily finds the investor's company online, tracks down the name of his executive assistant, and sends a carefully crafted email from a new, untraceable account. She poses as a former employee of Ryan's who just wants to do the right thing before a good man invests in a dangerous one. Attached, PDFs of loan agreements in her name, screenshots of unpaid contractor invoices, and photos of property deeds showing his shell companies. The subject line reads, "Before you sign with Ryan Taylor, please read the event." 3 days later, Ryan is scheduled to hold a press conference to announce the partnership. The venue is a downtown hotel ballroom. Banners with his company logo draped behind a long table. But an hour before it's set to start, Emily gets a text from Claire. "You're going to want to turn on Channel 8. On screen, the reporter explains that the investor has abruptly pulled out, citing concerns about the integrity of the deal. Other outlets start picking it up, noting that Ryan refused to answer questions about past business dealings. Emily closes her laptop and walks to the window. Across the city, the first cracks are appearing in Ryan's carefully built facade. But she's not finished. The twist. That night, Emily uploads a video. It starts innocently enough. Soft background music, a slideshow of Madison's Instagram posts. Madison in the silk robe. Madison in the leather chair. Madison with Max the dog. Then the music shifts. The images slow. Over them, Emily's voice begins to speak. Calm, measured, eerily familiar in its cadence. It's the same tone Ryan used the night he humiliated her. She narrates over each image, layering receipts over Madison's posts. Madison in Emily's robe. Overlay. A receipt for the robe. Billed to Emily's card after Ryan had already drained her account. Madison in the leather chair. Overlay. Invoice to the furniture store, signed by Emily, but delivered to Ryan's new condo. Madison holding Max. Overlay. Pet adoption paperwork with Emily's name, time-stamped years before Madison entered the picture. Then come the business documents, contracts with forged signatures, screenshots of emails where Ryan admits to creative accounting, legal notices of unpaid debts. 8 years ago, Emily says in the video, I believed Ryan Taylor was building a future for us. What he was really building was an exit strategy. The final image freezes on Ryan smiling at the anniversary party. The moment before he reached for Madison's hand, Emily's voice drops to a whisper. He thought the cracks he made would destroy me. Instead, they became the sharpest weapon I've ever held. Public fallout. Within hours, the video spreads across local Facebook groups, Twitter threads, and TikTok. It racks up thousands of views in the first night, fueled by the mix of scandal and storytelling. Ryan's phone, once a constant source of opportunity, now buzzes with angry messages and calls from former allies. His investors cut ties. The city's business press turns him into a cautionary tale about arrogance and fraud. By the end of the week, his office is shuttered, his accounts frozen under investigation. Madison deletes her social media entirely. And just like that, the man who once had everything, the house, the friends, the money, the power, has nothing. Personal confrontation. It's late on a Thursday when Emily hears pounding on her apartment door. She looks through the peephole. Ryan. His suit is wrinkled, hair unkempt, eyes wild. She opens the door just enough to stand in the frame. You think this is over? He spits. You destroyed my life. Emily tilts her head. No, Ryan, you destroyed your life. I just held up a mirror. He steps closer, voice low. You won't get away with this. She doesn't flinch. You made the cracks, she says evenly. I just learned how to use them. For a moment, they just stare at each other. The man who once owned her trust, and the woman who dismantled his empire without ever touching him. Then she closes the door. The lock clicks. Inside, Emily walks back to her kitchen table, where the cracked wine glass, the dust, settles slowly. In the weeks following Ryan's collapse, legal letters trickle in, some threatening, some surrendering. Emily's lawyer finds a small but significant detail buried in old records. A modest property in a rural county, bought years ago during a speculative kick of Ryan's. The deed is in her name alone, something he must have overlooked in his greed. It isn't much, a rundown cottage with creaky floors and peeling paint, but it's hers. She sells it within a month. The money isn't enough to make her rich, but it's enough to clear every debt he left in her name. For the first time since the anniversary night, she can breathe without feeling like she's drowning in someone else's choices. Personal growth. One afternoon, while having coffee with Claire, Emily mentions how many women she's met in the last year with similar stories. Women blindsided, manipulated, stripped of more than just possessions. You should do something with that, Claire says. So she does. Emily starts small. A website, a phone number, a support group meeting in the back room of a library. Word spreads. She finds donors, volunteers, lawyers willing to help. Within a year, her nonprofit is officially registered. Second Sunrise, a network for women recovering from financial abuse and public humiliation. They share resources, offer legal aid, help each other rebuild credit and confidence. The meetings aren't just about fixing what was broken. They're about proving that broken can still be powerful, letting go. The revenge video remains online for exactly 1 year. It's still getting comments when she finally clicks delete. Not because Ryan deserves peace, he doesn't, but because she's ready to close that chapter. That video was for me, she says quietly, staring at the empty screen where it used to be. But so is letting it go. Inner peace. Emily moves again, this time by choice, to a small sunlit apartment with wide windows and pale wooden floors. There's a balcony where she grows basil and cherry tomatoes. On the first morning in her new home, she unpacks the last box and places a single item on the kitchen shelf: the cracked wine glass. It's not a trophy, not a weapon anymore, just a reminder of survival, of strength, of the truth she learned the hard way. She runs her fingers over the fracture, the same way she did the night everything fell apart. But now she's smiling. Cracks, she murmurs. Let the light through too. Closing image. The final shot is Emily sitting on her balcony, sunlight spilling over her shoulders. She's writing in a fresh notebook, the pages clean and unmarked. Her phone buzzes. A message from a woman she's never met. I heard what you do. I need help. Emily types back. Tell me everything. She sets the phone down, takes a sip of coffee from a new mug. No chips, no cracks, and looks out at the city. This time, the life she's building is hers alone. Fade to black. The city feels different now. Not because it's changed, but because I have. The streets that once felt like cages now feel like open roads. The silence in my apartment isn't loneliness anymore. It's peace. Some nights, I still think about the girl I was before Ryan. The girl who believed that love meant trust without question. That people who claimed to love you could never sharpen the knife while hugging you. I know better now. I've stopped replaying the worst moments. But the lessons, those stay. The way betrayal feels like a physical wound. The way shame can be heavier than debt. And the way anger, if you hold it just right, can be turned into precision. They say broken things lose their value, but they forget. Every crack is proof you survived the blow. And if you're patient enough, those cracks can become the sharpest weapons you'll ever hold. Ryan once thought he had destroyed me, stripped me of my home, my friends, my dignity. But he never understood the most dangerous part of breaking someone, the chance they'll rebuild sharper than before. I didn't get my old life back. I don't want it. I got something better. The day I deleted that video, I didn't do it for him. I did it because I'd already won. His name will never carry weight again. His shadow will never fall on me again. Now, I live in sunlight, and the cracked wine glass sits on my kitchen shelf, a reminder that I am not afraid of breaking. Because if it ever happens again, I already know what to do. Ryan taught me how to break. I taught myself how to cut back.